Welcome everyone to another episode of Aging in Action. And it's the new year, 2023, and we're very happy to have with us today Evie Ali and Ali Farooq with the Go Give Project. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
I started following you. I think I started hearing about you maybe 2 years ago or so. We were right in the pandemic. Everything was going crazy. And there was certainly a huge issue with homeless, with people living out on the street. And that hasn't changed. It's still there. And tell me a little bit about how the Go Give Project started.
Mm-hmm.
So we started in October 2020. Myself and Ali and our young son had actually just gone out into the community, to feed the homeless. We thought during the pandemic, this would be like a really good, sort of family event to tend to. It was also an Islamic holiday for us as well. So everything was kind of just falling into place for this one day event of, going out into the community with our family. I myself am a practical nurse and Ellie is a foreign trained physician. So within our first evening in the community, we of course noticed other things besides hungry people. There was a lot of infections, a lot of ill hands, frostbite, things like that. So we did start going out to the community more regularly, providing other things, a hot meal, mittens, maybe a blanket, things like that. And I couldn't really tell you when it all kind of developed into this full-time 7-day service, but somewhere between taking our son into the community and, connecting with others, we now have a registered charity that's been operating for 2 years. We're partnered with public health for our harm reduction programs and things like that. And I think Ellie can probably tell you more about some of our services. He's our programs manager. But we've just been very blessed to have so much support and meaningful relationships within our community that has allowed us to grow to this point.
Ali, did you want to add something to that?
Elaborate on our services, if that's okay. So we primarily are a harm reduction mobile unit. We operate at nighttime, starting at about 9 p.m. and we do go up till about 2 o'clock in the morning. Those timings can vary depending on needs. Summertime, usually it's much busier outside. So we have some days come back home at like 6, 7 in the morning. And we've gotten into bed and then gotten a whole phone call to get out again. But that's a part of the parcel and we welcome it. But we do offer harm reduction, naloxone, first aid. We do also offer some nutrition or snacks and seasonal supplies. We do find a lot of individuals either don't have enough clothes or don't have facilities to wash the clothes that they are wearing. So especially things like socks and underwears and winter coats, blankets, those are a very hot commodity amongst our clients. So we do provide those as much as we can. And we do a lot of wellness checks as well in regards to connecting families and also our recently housed clients that have gotten housing. We do follow up with them and make sure they're doing okay once they are in their own space.
It's amazing. It's a lot of work. I don't know how you manage to do it all. Like, do you still work outside of this, like in your occupations, or is this what you're focusing on totally now?
So as of November of this year, we have all of our team has decided to focus on Go Give full time. So at this time, we are self-employed through the Go Give project. That has been, again, just thanks to so much great community support and sort of just private support. So it's been fantastic. As of November, we are all focusing on it full time, but the 2 years leading up to this, we all had full-time jobs and Go Give. So it's been a real, I don't want to say struggle because those that we are helping are dealing with the real struggle, but it's been challenging for sure to get to this point, but we're just so grateful that we are and that we're able to continue the work that we do.
Evie, I would think that taking into consideration the volume of individuals in our community who are deemed less fortunate and may not have a place to lay their head regularly, you must need a wide variety of volunteers and ongoing support to be able to continue day to day, 7 days a week, so many hours in a day. What does that look like staffing wise? Volunteers, do you have a specific, number of individuals that you're hoping to attain by a certain end of 2023 volunteer wide base? Also, what area are you focusing more? Downtown? Do you go outlining areas?
These are all really great questions. So I'm going to touch base on the volunteers first. So it's no surprise to some people that the team that we have now, so we do have an existing team of 5 in the office. They are doing anywhere from 40 to 70 hours a week, just making sure that, the governance is taken care of, all of our books and reporting is great, but then of course, all the frontline work is still being completed. That being said, it was our focus for January to begin onboarding new volunteers, and we just completed our 4th or 5th interview this afternoon. So that's been fantastic. And we don't necessarily have a goal for the number of volunteers that we would like to bring on. Our goal is to bring on volunteers that are looking to build meaningful connections, or that, have the right intentions to be out in the community. And for our volunteers, we're strongly encouraging those that have some lived experience, to reach out, to apply. One, it's been a blessing on my own sobriety journey. It's really helped me develop new skills and tools, to sort of manage my own things. So I think that's really great in the lived experience aspect, but it also helps the clients when they have some more interpersonal knowledge being brought to the table as well. But that being said, we do also strongly encourage people like social workers, other fellow nurses, other people studying in the healthcare field to apply as well, because we do acknowledge that that's where a lot of stigma is brought to. So if we can help educate those workers as well and have them involved within the community, that's also going to be, a great contribution to us meeting our mission.
I have a question. I was looking at your website earlier listening, and I noticed something on it. I thought that was quite interesting. There's a section on there called Connecting Families. Could you maybe explain that one a little bit? I thought that was important.
Absolutely. So this is actually one of my favorite programs, and this started in early 2021 when we had reached out to several families as per, our friends' requests in the community. And it was brought to my attention that one of the mothers had spent the last 4 years believing her son was deceased. And that to me was just shocking, because I had been seeing him every night for the past year. So with that information, we, started talking to our friends in the community, saying, like, if you have loved ones that, you think you'd like to reach out to, let us know. And then loved ones too started reaching out to us. Because of the sensitivity of some situations, we acknowledge the importance of informed consent. And just to touch base, informed consent means that our friends are providing consent while they are in a state of mind that means they are able to sanely do so. So they're not overly intoxicated, they're not experiencing a mental health crisis when we're asking them these permissions. They're in a sort of sound state of mind where, we feel they can informedly say, yes, please reach out. So we use a series of consent forms that are available on our website, as you may have saw today. And we request that, if a family member is seeking information, they'll file that form with us. It basically just states, I'm looking for information on so-and-so. I maybe last saw them this time. And this is what I'd like to know. And then I'll take that to the friend in the community and say, your auntie would like to know if I could tell her where you are, how you're feeling, and how you look. And he might say, well, you can tell her I'm okay, but that's it. And then we'll work with those consents with whatever the friend wants, relate to the family. We will be like, we can tell you that they're okay, but they've asked that we not say too much, but they're safe. And then sometimes clients, we don't know all the situations at home. So sometimes they're like, please don't tell them anything. And we have to unfortunately abide by that. But for the most part, it's been a very rewarding program. It's taken us to Manitoulin and many other places to physically bring people to meet their families and things like that. And it's just been such a beautiful thing to see. All around it. It's been very holistically helpful in supporting our friends, for sure.
That's wonderful. So if anybody is looking for family, they can just go and fill in a form on the website or just call your
Absolutely.
office.
So yeah, either one is fine. So the forms are available on our website. That sometimes makes things quicker. But you can also give us a call, stop by the office. We're always happy to help. And of course, it's just really important that everybody's understanding that it is on an informed consent basis. So, we were respecting the loved one's wishes at this time.
You just mentioned your office, and you just recently moved into that location on Larch Street. So you've got a permanent place where people can reach out to you there. Yeah, what's the address
Yes,
on
we
Larch
do.
Street?
So we're at 280 Larch Street. We're currently in office from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. So this is our central office location and does also serve as a community closet. It is important to highlight that we do not offer any of our needle exchange programs during those hours, as there are many fantastic resources in the community. And we're very focused on not duplicating services. But during that time, we always welcome a chat, a coffee, whatever you may need support-wise that's not available from other resources during the daytime.
Being it was such a wonderful and successful project here happening in the northern region in Greater Sudbury. Are you looking to expand in other communities as you grow? Is that something that you're thinking will be on your radar?
So we are very much so working on another community at this time. I'm not at liberty to say too much yet because we're still in the very early stages, but there is another northern community that is opening up a nighttime outreach program, and it will be in partnership with the Go Get Project. So that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Congratulations on that. We're looking forward to hearing
Thank
more on
you.
that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, living in Northern Ontario does pose a lot of different issues than, when you live down in, warmer states. Up here we're dealing with freezing temperatures, and that is such an important thing to be able to help people living on the street, because you're right about frostbite and all of those things. It's very hard seeing that. I find it's constantly, we drive by, we see somebody and they're on the corner panhandling, and I think a lot of people are wondering, are those people legitimately homeless? That's a perception out there, is this should we be helping that person on that corner?
Absolutely. There's definitely still a lot of stigma, but that stigma just comes from a place of uneducation, right? So it's definitely, we fear the unknown. And I think we can definitely validate and value both sides of that. I mean, we want to keep ourselves safe, and, we don't always know what the situation is, but that's also why we see the importance of having these outreach programs, because it does allow community members to reach out to us so that, you can ensure that that individual does get help and you can keep yourself safe at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to know how to help, right? Can't sometimes physically help somebody, but maybe somebody that can help, like your group, and of course financially people can help. I guess I've always been scared of people that are on drugs or alcohol my whole life. I sort of stayed away from that. I feel like when people are out of control, it's scary to me, right? So it's something I've tried to avoid in my own life, but it's also, it's intimidating to come up to somebody who's on drugs. It's scary, right?
Absolutely.
Well, and I think too,
That definitely is a factor why it is so stigmatized in the
Yeah.
general community, because people are, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
afraid, because you don't know how the individual will react, what their mental state is at the time. But a good thing, like you did mention that, passing by individuals who are panhandling, or, just individuals on the side of the road that you do know or recognize to be affected by homelessness. In terms of help, they don't necessarily need money, or they don't necessarily need food or, supplies at that time. Even just a normal human interaction where you're just like, hello, how's your day? Are you doing okay? That recognition that, that individual is still a human being. They're not a part of the sidewalk. They're not a part of the island at the intersection. That, I notice a lot of people, averting their eyes, or they're parking their car a bit further away just to, avoid that awkward interaction. And it's understandable. It is an awkward situation because you are a person who, is blessed, and it's hard to see an individual who's not at the same time, and feeling that helplessness of not being able to do something for that individual, or not knowing how to help that individual. But even a simple hi, hello, or a smile, we've had feedback from people where, they've said that I sat on a busy road all day, and not one person stopped to say hi or hello or even looked at them. So just a kind greeting can really change their mindset, their attitude for the day, and just give them some validity that I still am a person. Because as scary as they look, and as much as people can degrade them or call them names and stuff like that, they themselves are the biggest critics of their themselves. There's nothing that you can say to them that is going to be as bad as what they go through personally, internally to themselves. So they know they're at a low, they know they're suffering, they know they're at a position where they need help. But it there are so many factors that surround homelessness and addiction. It's not just a single problem. There's mental health involved, there's intergenerational trauma, especially with our indigenous folk. With the Connecting Families program, we did delve deeper into how extensive and deep that trauma runs, and it's within generation and generation. So it's broken generations trying to fix broken generations, and it'll take time for the healing process, and take time for everybody to reconcile with the trauma, and to take a step ahead. But in the meantime, our duty is to provide that support and that stability as much as we can, so that the healing process can continue and further and develop. But to sort of summarize it again, even if you don't know how to help somebody, just saying a hi, hello, or just ask, do you need something today? And you'd be surprised, most of the time they'll be like, no, I'm okay right now, but thank you. Right. The worst that you hear is a no. And that's okay.
Is there an increase in the
At the end of
number
the
of?
day, you have to realize that they are human beings, they're people, they're individuals.
Yeah.
Everybody is somebody's son, brother, daughter, mother, and they're just people at the end of the day.
Yeah, I often think, well, and mental health is a huge issue. Why a lot of people are, having issues throughout their life, right? And some of them end up homeless, and it's tragic for sure. Is there an increase in the homeless population in Sudbury? Or is it, are we able to help enough that they're not out on the street? What have you seen?
I want to say that it's been a fluctuation and not necessarily an increase, because whereas we have seen many of our friends obtain housing, we've also seen many face recurrent evictions. So that is one issue that we're looking at. So the numbers stay very relatively the same due to that factor. And then the secondary factor is we're always encountering newly homeless individuals as well. So as fast as we might be housing somebody that may be able to obtain long-term housing, we're also meeting a new individual that's also just lost their long-term housing. So it's a very fluctuating number. It always stays in the about the same bracket, but I don't want to say there's been an increase, but there's also not really been a decrease. It's a very stabilized number of recurrent evictions, or, just a cyclical event of, people obtaining homes and losing homes, especially with the affordability crisis and things like that, right? So fluctuating is what we'll go with.
Okay.
Well, I think it's a very humbling experience when an individual who maybe hasn't had, everybody has a story. We're all human beings, and we should all be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of our demographic. And I think if an individual listening or watching today has never had that opportunity to maybe volunteer at the soup kitchen, or, bring some warm clothing to somebody in need, it's humbling, and it's rewarding in itself to know that you're helping make a difference in something that's so important and vital. And the unfortunate factor is it's not going to go away, right? It's not going to disappear overnight. We need to impact change and make a difference. So I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and I think it's great, and I hope it continues to grow in different communities across not just the north, but even southern. And I'm sure even where Lisette is in a warm climate, she's seeing the same impact wherever she is. I think it's an ongoing issue that needs to be addressed in multiple levels of government, not just on an Aging in Action episode, but ongoing. So,
Thank you.
The safe injection site, because I know that you're touched weekly by deaths within the community. Has that made a difference yet? Has it been going on long enough that it's made a difference?
Any person that attends the supervised consumption site is somebody that is now safer in the community. So it's definitely making a difference, even if it's to 1 to 10 people. You know, every person attending is somebody that is now less at risk than they were previously. So taking the numbers off of the table, it's definitely having an impact for those that are using it. We are still seeing an incredible number of overdoses, fatal overdoses, and those that are being reversed in our community. And this again comes down to the fact that we are in a crisis, you know, a housing crisis, an opioid crisis. We're just coming out of a pandemic. All of those things are still very compound factors for our friends here in the community. And that's before we even start addressing the trauma, intergenerational trauma, mental health, and all of those things. So there's a range of factors that do contribute to the number of deaths that we do experience. Some of them can be resource factors, but most of them really come down to lack of further resources, treatment facilities, supervised housing, those types of things, right? And it's very much so a federal problem. It's not just a Sudbury problem. It's a Canadian problem, an American problem. You know, it's really, really tough. But we're all out here doing what we can, and, you know, Go Give aren't the only ones. There are many, many fantastic resources and amazing individuals in Sudbury doing their part to kind of combat the number of deaths we are seeing. You know, I think we had 2 to 3 friends that we lost last week, and that hurts. But, you know, we have to remember the ones that are still here and keep working for solutions for them.
If you could wave a magic wand, what would be the first thing you would like to see change? Like, what, more money put into mental health, or what would be big answer?
Most people think that money is the problem solver, but I think if we're going to talk money, that money needs to be invested into training. We need to be looking at more trauma-informed care, more CPI training, more gentle approach training. We need to be looking more into the analytics of the who's, why's, what's, and when's, opposed to the, you know, Band-Aid methods that we do keep investing in. So while, yes, money is a big contributing factor, it's also the placement of where that funding is going that has a huge impact on the results that we're seeing.
We're coming down to the last minute and a little of our episode today. Are there any last words you wish to share with our viewers and listeners?
I think it's just really important for everybody in Sudbury to know how grateful we are for all of the kindness and support that we've received. We never would have been able to do this without everyone that has participated, contributed, or simply supported us. I mean, even just a simple acknowledgement on social media really helps us get our name out there and helps others see what's happening in our community. So I think I'd just love to end with a really big appreciative thank you to everybody, and our friends as well in the community for trusting us and allowing us to build these connections and to help us, because I mean, without them, there wouldn't be this. So I mean, they're also very important to us, and we're just really grateful.
Well, we truly appreciate you spending the time with us today on Aging in Action. We will definitely share. We think what you're doing is wonderful, and kudos for you for making that initiative work. We will share everything we can on all our platforms. We'll share your links to your website information. We wish you all the best and continued success. We thank everyone today for joining us on Aging in Action, and we look forward to seeing you in the next week on another episode. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.